While the Cup Series still have a race in their first round of the playoffs, and the Xfinity Series haven't even started their playoffs yet, the Truck Series will be moving into their second round, the round of 8, starting this week at Bristol. We hit on some picks. We missed on some picks. Mark, take it away. Set the stage. What are we looking at going into the round of 8 here for the trucks?
Well, after a very, very short, nearly 2 months, the first round of the playoffs are complete, and we have sent 2 drivers packing for the season. Recapping what happened at our 3 races, started off the round of 12 or 10 at IRP, where Grant Enfinger emerged from a pretty crazy finish to capture what was his first win of the season. It was honestly, I feel like, a pretty clean race up until the very end. One exception being Carson Hocevar, although this was at the end, where Carson Hocevar wrecked Colby Howard while running in the top 10. After that incident, Hocevar fell all the way back to 21st, losing 10-11 spots in the process. At IRP, I had picked Chandler Smith to win. Brandon had picked Ty Majeski. Obviously, neither of these are Grant Enfinger. But that was how the return to IRP played out for the Truck Series. A few weeks later at Richmond, Chandler Smith dominated the last 2/3 of the race and took home the checkered flag. It was a pretty playoff driver-dominated race. The only playoff driver outside of the top 11 was Ben Rhodes, who finished 8th. We had both actually picked John Hunter Nemechek to take that race. He ultimately finished second to Chandler Smith. And just this past weekend, we wrapped up the round of 10 at Kansas, where John Hunter Nemechek put on a clinic, but did have to run down Carson Hocevar, who was on an alternate strategy late in the race, passing him on the last lap to take home what is, I believe, just his second win of the season. Despite a strong run, Hocevar was still eliminated as Eckes had a very solid race and managed to move on to the next round, beating Carson Hocevar by just 3 points. Obviously, the incident between Hocevar and Colby Howard at IRP, where Hocevar lost over 10 points, looming very large on Hocevar's season now. Matt Crafton was also eliminated. In terms of who we had being eliminated from the round of 8, we both did have Matt Crafton being eliminated. Although I had Grant Enfinger being eliminated, obviously did not happen because he, in fact, won at IRP. Brandon had Ben Rhodes being eliminated, and that was actually pretty close. Ben Rhodes only moved on to the next round by 9 points, despite starting with a pretty solid playoff point advantage. For the round of 8, the leader is the same as it was at the start of the round of 10, with Zane Smith currently leading the field. 9 back is Chandler Smith. 13 back of Zane Smith is John Hunter Nemechek. Ben Rhodes still occupying the 4th spot, 20 points back. Stuart Friesen also still occupying the 5th spot, 24 points back. Ty Majeski, who had probably the best round of anyone who didn't win a race in the round of 10, currently sitting 5th, 24 points back. 29 points back. And Grant Enfinger and Christian Eckes both sitting tied for 7th, 30 points back. The round of 8 starts this weekend at Bristol, where previously I had Chandler Smith taking the victory and Brandon had Carson Hocevar taking the victory. I am changing out this pick because it's just been so strong, has a history of the short tracks. I do have Ty Majeski taking home his first career victory, punching his ticket into the Final Four.
Well, I guess great minds think alike there, because I also have Ty Majeski winning at Bristol. He's just been too good, especially through that last round. He really felt like he was there in almost every race, and he's a short track guy. I think Bristol's definitely going to play to his strengths, and I expect the 66 car to be in victory lane.
Yeah, he was strong at Kansas, but had great trucks at both IRP and Richmond, also short tracks. We're certainly in the contention, definitely late in the race to win at IRP as well. So would not be surprised to see him take home the victory here at Bristol. A few weeks after that, we go on to Talladega for the second race of the round of 8. I originally had Matt DiBenedetto taking home the victory, and Brandon had Grant Enfinger. I'm going to go ahead and stick with DiBenedetto here. Just historical trends. Talladega trucks produce crazy winners, and I guess Matt DiBenedetto wouldn't be that crazy, but he has been in NASCAR for quite some time, still does not have a victory, and could certainly see him taking home the victory here as an accomplished plate racer as well. Brandon, do you still have Grant Enfinger taking home this victory?
I have Grant Enfinger. I mean, he was pretty impressive in that first round, and I think Enfinger, somewhat of a underrated plate racer. So I'm still going to roll with him to win Talladega and punch his ticket into the championship 4.
Yeah, first career win, I believe, was at
Mm-hmm.
this race a few years ago. The Truck Series closes off the round of 8 at Homestead, where both Brandon and I originally had Zane Smith taking home the victory. But similar to John Hunter Nemechek last year, Zane Smith has certainly cooled off a bit here in the playoffs, and I'm actually picking John Hunter Nemechek to take the victory here, punch his ticket into the Final 4.
I'm also taking John Hunter Nemechek. Not going with Zane Smith here, maybe a surprise to some people, but John Hunter he had the better run at Kansas. Kansas is 1.5 miles. Granted, Homestead's kind of its own thing. It's definitely, in terms of the shape, the only one that we go to that's a traditional oval. But I liked what I saw out of John Hunter really the whole round. I mean, he had a chance to win IRP. He spun himself out, and then he wrecked Taylor Gray on a late race restart there. Had a pretty strong truck at Richmond, not as strong as Chandler Smith, but he was still right up there in the top 5 pretty much the whole race. And then he obviously won Kansas. I think everything's trending the right direction for John Hunter. I'm picking him to go to victory lane at Homestead as well.
I mean, if he doesn't wreck Taylor Gray at IRP, this is likely around the round of 10, that is, where John Hunter finished second, and first in the 3 races here. So I think it certainly has the most momentum. Makes a lot of sense. Homestead attracted, I think KBM will be good at. Would not be shocked to see him win at Homestead. For the Final 4, initially, both Brandon and I had Zane Smith, Chandler Smith, and Carson Hocevar making the championship 4. I don't think either of us are brain dead enough to still pick Carson Hocevar to make the championship 4. But in addition to that, I had John Hunter Nemechek making the championship 4, and Brandon had Grant Enfinger making the championship 4. My updated predictions will obviously include Ty Majeski and John Hunter Nemechek, as they both win races in my predictions in the round of 8. But I will also keep Zane Smith and Chandler Smith there for now.
So I can't do that because
that is true. You will already have locked in Ty Majeski, Grant Enfinger, and John Hunter Nemechek into the Final 4. So you only have one spot open. Who do you have it going to?
I have it going to Chandler Smith. Listen, I was on the fence. I really was. There's only, it looks like, a 9-point difference between Zane and Chandler going into this round. If neither of them are going to get a win, I think Chandler Smith right now can make up 9 points on Zane Smith, and that's why I have him getting into the Phoenix in the Final 4.
If I had Enfinger or any other playoff guy other than Zane winning at Talladega, I guess Chandler Smith too, for that fact. Winning at Talladega, I would 100% have Chandler Smith in over Zane Smith. I have Zane Smith getting in because I don't think Enfinger will win at Talladega, and I think the next closest guy that is truly a threat to Zane Smith is still Grant Enfinger, but he is 30 points back of Zane Smith.
That's basically going to take Zane Smith wrecking at Talladega and Enfinger winning both stages and finishing second.
Short of Zane Smith wrecking at Talladega, or someone like Ben Rhodes or Stuart Friesen, who are a lot closer, winning at Talladega, or I guess Grant Enfinger or Christian Eckes, for that matter. I just don't see any of these other guys having the speed to make up that gap. Majeski really being the only one, so I think it wouldn't almost necessitate someone like Eckes, Enfinger, Friesen, or Rhodes winning at Talladega in order to knock Zane Smith out, which you have, so that makes sense. With your picks to win these races, I would have Chandler Smith making it in over Zane Smith every time. And obviously, we head off then to the championship race at Phoenix, where initially I had Carson Hocevar taking home the championship, pulling a Daniel Hemrick, winning the race for his first career race, winning the championship. Obviously, not my pick anymore, as Hocevar is no longer in the playoffs. You had Chandler Smith taking home both the win at Phoenix and the championship. I have switched it to being John Hunter Nemechek. In what feels like an antithesis to last year, they hit the playoffs. They turned on, only won one of these 3 races. Wasn't really close necessarily to winning Richmond just because of how good of a car Chandler Smith had. But failures happen, and if that happened, we're not that far removed from a John Hunter sweep of the round of 10. So just have the most momentum. Had a really good truck at Phoenix last year that he just spun out early, got caught a lap or 2 down, and basically spent the whole race just trying to get back on the lead lap. And by the time he did, just not enough laps to do anything with it.
I'm going with Chandler Smith still. I'm not backing down from that pick. I picked him at the beginning of the playoffs, and while some of these picks have changed for this round, I'm not changing it. Maybe it's stubbornness on my part, but we started the playoffs with Chandler Smith. We're not stopping now. I expect him to have a strong run like he did last year at Phoenix. Go out there, win the race, and score the championship for, what could be his last time in the KBM truck. Yes, so I don't know where Chandler Smith's going to end up next year, but he'll end this season in victory lane with the trophy at Phoenix. That's my pick, and I'm sticking with it.
I mean, I think Talladega is going to be the thing that definitely throws the wrench in some plans here. If a guy like a Ben Rhodes or Stuart Friesen, Christian Eckes, or a Grand Infigure take home the trophy at Talladega.
I think Dega's definitely going to play a big role in who ends up in the championship for and who ultimately ends up with the championship. Well, hey, that's going to do it for our revisited truck predictions. Sure, it's going to be a really exciting round of 8, and hopefully we'll hit these picks.
Hopefully the round of 8 goes better for our race winner picks than the round of 10 did, where we went a great 0-3 each, 0-6 combined.
Yes, I would definitely agree. Hopefully it does do a lot better than the offer that we put up in the first round. Hi, Brandon Monroe here. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our new content.